We're on Chapter 3 of Spellbound by Nora Roberts. Then she began to move, just the sway of her body, rhythmic, sensual. The wind whipped the thin fabric of her dress, then had it clinging to those slim curves. The language she spoke now was familiar from his dreams. With unsteady hands, Cal lowered the camera. It was unsettling enough that he somehow understood the ancient tongue, but he would see beyond the words and into her thoughts as clearly as if they were written on a page. Protect, defend. The battle is nearly upon us. Help me, help him. There was desperation in her thoughts and fear. The fear made him want to reach out, soothe her, and shield her. He stepped forward and into the circle. The moment he did, her body jerked. Her eyes opened and fixed on his. She held up a hand quickly before he could touch her. Not here. Her voice was raw and thick. Not now. It waits for the moon to fill. Flowers brushed her knees as she walked out of the circle. The wind that had poured through her hair gentled and died. You rested well? She asked him. What the hell was going on here? His eyes narrowed. What the hell did you put in my tea? A dollop of Irish, nothing more. She smiled at his camera. You've been working. I wondered what you would see here and need to show. Why did you strip me? Your clothes were damp. She blinked once as she saw his thoughts in his eyes. Then she laughed, low and long, with a female richness that stirred his blood. Oh, Cal, you have a most attractive body. I'll not deny I looked. But in truth, I'm after preferring a man awake and participating when it comes to matters you're thinking of. Though furious, he only angled his head. And would you find it so funny if you'd awakened naked in a strange bed after taking tea with a strange man? Her lips pursed, and then she let out a breath. Your point's taken. Well taken. I'm sorry for it. I promise you I was thinking only of giving you your ease. Then the humor twinkled again, or mostly only of that. She spread her arms. Would you like to strip me and pay me back in kind? He could imagine it very well, peeling that long, thin dress away from her and finding her beneath. I want answers. His voice was sharp and rough, and I want them now. You do, I know. But are you ready, I wonder? She turned a slow circle. Here, I suppose, is the place for it. I'll tell you a story, Kaelin Farrell. A story of great love, great betrayal. One of passion and greed, of power and lust. One of magic, gained and lost. I don't want a story, I want answers. It's the same, they are, one and the other. She turned back to him, and her voice flowed musically. Once, long ago, this castle guarded the coast and its secrets. It rose silver and shining above the sea. Its walls were thick, its spires burned bright. Servants raced up and down the stairways into chambers. The rushes were clean and sweet on the floor. Magic sang in the air. She walked toward curving steps, lifted her hem, and began to climb. Too curious to argue, Cal followed her. He could see where the floors had been, the lintels and stone bracings. Carved into the walls were small openings, too shallow for chambers, he imagined. Storage, perhaps. He saw, too, that some of the stones were blackened, as if from a great fire. Laying a hand on one, he swore he could still feel the heat. Those who lived here, she continued, practiced their art and harmed none. When someone from the village came here with ails or worries, help was offered. Babies were born here, she said, as she stepped through a doorway and into the sun. The old died. She walked across a wide papelet to a stone rail that stood over the lashing sea. Years passed in just this way, season to season, birth to death. It came to be that some who lived here went out into the land to make new places, over the hills, into the forest, up into the mountains, where the fairies have always lived. The view left him thunderstruck, thrilled and awed, but he turned to her and cocked a brow. Fairies? She smiled, turned, and leaned back against the rail. One remained. A woman who knew her fate was here, in this place. She gathered her herbs, cast her spells, spun her wool, and waited. One day he came, riding over the hills on a fine black horse, the man she'd waited for. He was a warrior, brave and strong and true of heart. Standing here, just here, she saw the sun glint off his armor. She prepared for him, lighting the candles and torches to show him the way until the castle burned bright as a flame. He was wounded. Gently she traced the fingertip on Cal's thigh. He forced himself not to step back, not to think about the hallucination he'd had while driving through the hills toward this place. The battle he had fought was fierce. He was weary in body and heart and in mind. She gave him food and ease and warmth of her fire and her love. He took the love she offered and offered back his own. They were all to each other from that moment. His name was Kaelin of Farrell, and hers Brianna. The hearts were linked. He stepped back now, dipping his hands into his pockets. You expect me to buy that? What I offer is free, and there's more of the story yet. The frustration at having him pull back flickered over her face. Will you hear it or not? Fine. He moved her shoulder. Go ahead. She turned, clamped her hands on the stone balustrade, let the thunder of the sea pound in her head. She stared down at the endless war of water and rock that fought at the base of the cliff. They loved each other and pledged one to the other. But he was a warrior, and there were more battles to fight. Whenever he would leave her, she watched in the fire she made, saw him wheel his horse through the smoke and death, lift his sword for freedom, and he always came back to her, riding over the hills on a fine black horse. She wove him a cloak out of dark gray wool to match his eyes, and a charm she put on it for protection in battle. So you're saying she was a witch. A witch she was, yes, with the power and art that came down through the blood, and the vow she'd taken to her heart, as close as she'd taken the man she loved, to harm none. Her power she used only to help and to heal, but not all with power are true. There was one who had chosen a different path, one who used his power for gain and found joy in wielding it like a bloody sword. She shuddered once violently, then continued. This man, Aladistar, lusted for her body, her heart, her soul, for her power as well, for she was strong, was Brianna the Wise. He came into her dreams, creeping like a thief, trying to steal from her what belonged to another, trying to take what she refused to give. He came into her home, but she would not have him. He was fair of face, his hair gold, and his eyes black as the paths he'd chosen. He thought to seduce her, but she spurned him. Her fingers tightened on the stone, and her heart began to trip. His anger was huge, his vanity deep. He set to kill the man she loved, casting spells and weaving charms of the dark. But the cloak she had woven and the love she had given protected him from harm. But there were more devious ways to destroy. Aladistar used them. Again in dreams he planted seeds of doubt, hints of betrayal in Kaelin's sleeping mind. Aladistar gave him visions of Brianna with another, painted pictures of her wrapped in another man's arms, filled with another man's seed. And with these images tormenting his mind, Kaelin rode his fine black horse over the hills to his place. And finding her, he accused her. She was proud, Brianna said after a moment. She would not deny such lies. They argued bitterly, tempers ruling over hearts. It was then that he struck Aladistar. He'd waited only for the moment, laughing in the shadows while the lovers hurled pain at each other. When Kaelin tore off his cloak and hurled it to the ground at her feet, Aladistar struck him down so that his blood ran through the stones and into the ground. Tears blended into her eyes, but went unshed as she faced Kaelin. Her grief blinded her, but she cast the circle quickly, fighting to save the man she loved. His wound was mortal, and there was no answer for him but death. She knew, but refused to accept it, and turned to meet Aladistar. She lifted her voice over the roar of the sea. It came stronger now, this story through her. Then the walls of this place rang with fury, with magic loosed. She shielded her love and fought like a warrior gone wild, and the sky thundered. Clouds dark and thick covered the full white moon and blotted out the stars. The sea thrashed like men pitched in battle, and the ground trembled and heaved. In a circle weak and dying, Kaelin reached for his sword, but such weapons are useless against witchcraft, light and dark, unless wielded with strength. In his heart he called for her, understanding now his betrayal and his own foolish pride. Her name was on his lips as he died, and when he died, her heart split in two halves and left her defenseless. She sighed and closed her eyes briefly. She was lost within him, you see. Alistar's power spread like vultures' wings. He would have her then, willing or not. But with the last of her strength, she stumbled into the circle where her lover's body and blood stained the ground. There a vow she made, and a spell she cast. There, while the walls rang and the torches burned, she swore her abiding love for Kaelin. For 1,000 years she would wait, she would abide. She sent the fire roaring through her home, for she would not let Aladistar have it, and the spell she cast was this. She drew a deep breath now and kept her eyes on his. 1,000 years to the night they would come back and face Aladistar as one. If their hearts were strong, they would defeat him in this place. But such spells have a price, and hers was to vow that Kaelin did not believe, did not stand with her that night as one. Her power would wink out, and she would belong to Aladistar. Pledging this, she knelt beside her love, embraced him, and they banished them both. He waited a moment, surprised that he found her story and the telling of it hypnotic. Studying her, he rocked back on his heels. A pretty tale, Brianna. Do you still see it as such? She shook her head, her eyes pleading. Can you look at me and hear me and remember nothing? You want me to believe I'm some sort of reincarnation of a Celtic warrior and you're the reincarnation of a witch. He let out a short laugh. We've waited a millennium, and now we're going to do battle with the bad witch of the West? Come on, honey, do I look that gullible? She closed her eyes. The telling of the tale, the revealing of it, had tired her. She needed all her resources now. He has to believe, she murmured, pacing away from the wall. There's no time for subtle persuading. You have a vivid imagination of a child, she said angrily. It's a pity you tossed it aside, and tossed me aside. Listen, sweetheart. Oh, don't use those terms with me. Haven't I heard you croon them to other women as you got them into bed? I didn't expect you to be a monk waiting for this day, but did you have to enjoy it so damn much? Excuse me? Oh, never mind. Just never mind. A pretty tale, he says. Did it take a millennium to make him so stubborn, so blind? Well, we'll see, Karen Phelan. We'll see. She stopped directly in front of him, her eyes burning with the temper, her face flushed with it, a reincarnation of a witch. Perhaps that's true, but you'll see for yourself one simple fact. I am witch, and not without power yet. Crazy is what you are. He started to turn. Hold. She drew in a breath, and the wind whipped again, wild and wailing. His feet were seeming to the spot. See? She ordered, and flung a hand down toward the ground between them. It was the first charm learned, the last lost. Though her hand trembled with the effort, the fire erupted, burning cold and bright. He swore and would have leapt back if he had been able. There was no wood, there was no match, and just that golden ball of flame shimmering at his feet. What the hell is this? Proof, if you'll take it. Over the flames, she reached out a hand. I've called to you in the night, Kaylin, but you wouldn't hear me. But you know me. You know my face, my mind, my heart. Can you look at me and deny it? No. His throat was dust dry, his dimples throbbing. No, I can't, but I don't want this. Her hand fell to her side. The fire vanished. I can't make you want. I can only make you see. She swayed suddenly, surprising them both. Hey! He caught her as her legs buckled. I'm just tired. Just tired, that's all. She'd gone deathly pale, he noted, and she felt as limp as if every bone in her body had melted. This is crazy. This whole thing is insane. I'm probably just having another hallucination. But he swept her up into his arms and carried her down a circle of stone steps and away from the castle of secrets.